First, they were exposed, but they built a foundation amongst the crowd. And by exposing themselves carelessly, they found that this was no longer necessary, and they grew an audience across the globe using sound bites, news, and laughter. And as the year wound down, the one known as Joe found solace in moving on to use his talents primarily as an online video game streamer. The other, known as Kevin, has decided to hang on to the thread that is the backlog in order to build the foundation up to a second thread, a second season. This season will focus on an effort to educate the audience with some of the most profound and amazing details in esports and battle royales, in next generation systems and technology, in games that you would play when you were a child, and in games that you will play into your adult life and beyond. The one who hangs on will never let go, and for that we have this new season and new year. Some may say that this very moment is just the beginning. The beginning of what, you may ask? Well, it could be the beginning of the end. Or it could be the beginning of a new year in which new opportunities are built. From TwitchCon to Comic-Con to the Backlogacon, 2020 aims to be the year of the backlog. As a Twitch affiliate and a Fortnite content creator, please remember, folks, you must follow, subscribe, and use code BACKLOG when making purchases in Fortnite. Yes, Kevin Lane looks to improve upon the foundation that he and Joe built, and he looks to bring on new guests and new talents to talk about new things. And oh, yes, he will reflect on the last year, but he will look forward to what is to come. You see, we will start today with Season 2 with a new guest. And with this guest, we will not look past him. His name is Johnny Ryan Weaver, and he is known as IcyChiller. And he comes to us as an esports expert with 13 plus years as a competitive Halo player. And he brings great insight into the tournament world of esports. And with his insight and other insights in the future, we will learn more about gaming together. And we will continue to cross more items off of the backlog.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 1, season 2, technically episode number 63 of the Backlog Podcast. I am your host, Kevin, and we have a great episode today. Today, as you heard in the intro, which, holy shit, I can't believe we got Gandalf all the way from wherever he was at. I think he died, didn't he? But yeah, he came to record the intro, and it's really special to us, or to me. Ooh, I think I just got a follow. I did. I got a follow. And what the hell does that mean, right? You're probably wondering, what does that mean? Well, I am now a Twitch streamer. I'm a Twitch affiliate, and I've been talking about that for quite some time. Joe and I both have had aspirations of doing Twitch and jumping in and recording our gameplay and broadcasting and all that. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun. I wish I really put a lot more focus into it a long time ago. I did try to stream, but there was really no foundation for it. There was really no, I just did it. I just bought the capture card, and I just logged in and I just streamed, right? I didn't put any focus into figuring out how to get an audience or anything like that. And so for the last year with the podcast and with everything going on, put a lot of effort into building a community, building groups of people that, share similar interests, and we work together, and you'll hear about it. We talk a bit about that in today's episode about the network. You're going to hear more about the Leaky Squad or whatever, their portion. There's just a great group of people who are coming together, and things are happening faster than we can record. So, just stay tuned in things like that. But shout out to my boys over at the Leaky Squad. Shout out to IcyChiller. Just a hell of an episode today. What I want to do this season, what I want to do over the next coming months is really focus on bringing in talented people like like IcyChiller, Johnny, and, other people who have insights into the areas of the gaming industry that we just don't necessarily see. So you're going to hear from streamers and podcasters and things like that. But I'm also going to try to get interviews with people who are actually in the development world, in the, the back end, in the thick of things, Obviously, I love talking to friends about this stuff. So you're going to hear from guests that you've heard from before. I know I'm going to be able to get several people back on here. We'll probably hear from Joe again. And I definitely want Ray back on. That's Alex Ray Bebe. And we'll probably have an EMAR podcast where we get Adam on. You've heard a lot about him over the year. But really, I'm going to focus on making this brand, making this podcast worthwhile for you to come in every Monday. Hopefully every Monday, you'll have something to listen to on your way into work. So I'm going to try to commit to you a schedule of some sort, delivering you a podcast over the weekend so that when you're ready for work on the Monday morning, you got something to go and listen to. Now, in the event that doesn't happen, in the event that I can't deliver on a Monday, the goal is always going to be Monday, but you'll expect to have something delivered for that Tuesday. But I'm not even going to go there. I'm just throwing it out there that my goal is to not screw this up, okay? Schedules are super important. Knowing that you all maintain a schedule of your own, whether it's a drive to work every single day or go pick somebody up or go drop somebody off. You got to commit your time to the things you know you can. Secondly, I want to keep our podcast to a specific length or less. I don't want to run 2-3 hours. What I'm going to do is try to divide and conquer. If I have a long podcast, I'll let you know early on, right? And what I'll probably do is divide that podcast up a little bit. You'll have the ability to go in and listen to both podcasts, but there'll be like an A and a B. So you can get to a certain point where it might be good to tap out, and then you can come back to that podcast the next day. They'll probably drop at the same time if it's an extra long episode, but that way you don't feel so committed to a 2 or 3 hour episode. I try not to do that. I will try not to make them that long, but in the event that happens, rest assured, I'm going to try to split it up so it's appropriate. Today's episode is a little bit over an hour, but it is episode 1 of season 2, and I'm trying to make a big focus on what we have for content. This content is going to get better as I get better at this, and today proves it. We have a man who has been in the industry for many, many years, whether it was literally playing as an esports competitor for money, for rankings. And now, that same person has dedicated the rest of his life to focusing on working inside that industry, working for competitive gaming, working with companies like MLG and UGC Esports, South by Southwest, DreamHack, and G4G. He's been a tournament specialist for years, uniting the esports arenas and putting out some really high quality tournaments and product for these companies. So I really hope that you stick through this really awesome interview with Johnny, and it was a hell of an interview, and I'm really happy that he spent the time with me. He actually was the one who reached out to me to get involved in what we're doing, and I'm just super happy to have him. Before we throw that interview at you, I just have a couple of quick bits of news and updates. So I've been talking a lot about the Fortnite World Cup. That's coming up at the end of July 26th through 28th. There's 100 teams of, I'm sorry, let me correct that. There's 100 competitors who have fought over 10 weeks to earn the right to this World Cup. And now here we have, there's a duo tournament and a solo tournament. So there's 200 finale competitors. One is duos, so 50 teams, and the other is 100 individuals solo tournament. They're millions of dollars are on the line. This will be the biggest spectacle in esports history. This will be just one of the most amazing events to come, and I can't wait for it. Fortnite has shelled out lots of money for the esports world, for these tournaments, and they've really adapted to what the American way is. There's been esports going on for quite some time, but it has not hit the forefront that we see right now with Fortnite. if you really pay attention, it's turning into a spectacle. It's not just a little thing here, a little thing there. Epic Games and Fortnite have really come together to find a solution that works for the broadcasts that Americans are used to. And I really do believe that this is just the beginning of esports in America, esports across the globe. I mean, it's been going on for some time, but really, in 100 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to remember these few years as the mark that the part that made the mark, however you want to say that. Epic has made some companionship with companies like Marvel and movies like John Wick, and now you see Stranger Things. Businesses are starting to adapt, and they know we got to get in this. And what's the best way? Well, I'll tell you, I don't know how much it costs for these companies to get involved, but my kid doesn't even know what the hell Stranger Thing is, and he wants it. He wants everything about it. He wants the Demogorgon, he wants this, he wants that, and it is the smartest thing. John Wick as well. That's not an age-appropriate character, right? I mean, for Fortnite, when 90-something% is under the age of 18, they can assume that most are of PG age, but no. I mean, these kids that are playing this game shouldn't know what John Wick is, but they do, and they will move forward, and in years, John Wick episode, or part 1, 2, and 3 will resell when these kids are old enough to buy them, and it's just the smartest marketing I've seen in such a long time with Marshmallow and all of this stuff. Makes you wonder what's next, right? Makes you wonder what the next big thing is going to be. Maybe you already know, maybe it's already been talked about, but I think a combination of working with more companies like Disney and working with possibly G.I. Joe and Hasbro, I mean, that would be the most common or the most likely solution that would make sense. But, I mean, they could do a whole game with reskins of G.I. Joe characters. That's what I would love. But, maybe that's just past them. Maybe Hasbro wouldn't be interested in something like that. But could you imagine they could re-release every single goddamn G.I. Joe? They could do a whole season with 150 different characters and, just absolutely blow it out of the water. And they might do something like that later on in life when they start to decline, but they're obviously still hanging in to where they want to be financially. It's just amazing that we can be this far into the future from when we started talking about what was going to knock them off, and there's still just really nothing that can really keep them off for good. There's games like Realm Royale that always have some buzz, and they're fun to play. Apex Season 2 is out right now, and EA is paying a shitload of gamers to play the game, but once that is done, once they're done paying, it's over. Now, it's interesting, the timing, right? Season 2 of Apex Legends is here, and we have the, there's a lot of streamers, big-time streamers, who did not make the World Cup. So are they going to continue to grind and play every day on that? Or are they going to play some of these other games that they've been meaning to play for a while that people might be interested in seeing? Nick Merckx and Ninja and a few of others, they might be more dedicated to playing a game that isn't Fortnite for a little bit until Fortnite comes along and says, hey, we're going to pay you again to play. But right now they don't need to, because they got so many eyes on them that, they're focused on these tournaments and stuff. So you're probably going to see some of these streamers branch out a little bit. But the fans still want to see it. Fortnite's a game that you can watch because of the history in each game is unique and different. And as you watch these games, you can see that, these landmarks, these land points if you've played them enough. And now you see construction and building, and like I said, there's history in every game, and every game is different. Everything is done a little bit differently. The destruction aspect is huge, and I think that plays a big part, is just the feeling of crunching a tree down or breaking rocks apart is different than if you were to just run past something and mine it or, pick a leaf off the ground. So Fortnite has found something that obviously has worked for quite some time, and it probably will continue for a while, especially if they're going to be partnering with companies and movies and things like that. I think, again, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg here, and there's a lot more to come even in that. TwitchCon coming up September 27th to 29th. I got my ticket. I will be there. San Diego. If you're going to be at TwitchCon, please reach out to me. Let me know. I would love to, meet some of the audience who's out there, and I'm going to be there with a group of people that I just cannot wait to meet. The Leaky Squad, and my nephew is going to be there. We're trying to get Joe out there, and hopefully that's going to be a really good time. So if you're going to be in the area, San Diego for September 27th to 29th, go ahead and reach out to me. Hit me up at the Backlog Pod. You can hit me up anywhere. That's Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, email at thebacklogexposed@gmail.com, and our website, thebacklogpod.com. Definitely want to get in touch with our fan base. And if you're out there, love to see you, love to meet, shake your hand, say thank you, because you all listening makes this worthwhile for me. As I said in the intro, as Gandalf said in the intro, I am now a Twitch affiliate. I am a Fortnite content creator, and with that means you can subscribe, you can follow, you can even use your Prime sub, right? If you don't know what that means on Twitch, right? If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can go into Twitch, you can watch me play my video games. And then for free, you can hit a subscribe button that connects to your Amazon Prime account. It costs you nothing if you don't do this, right? If you don't pay anybody or subscribe to anybody, you get one free a month. So you can give it to me. I'd say thank you. You can give it to somebody else if you like them better, or you can keep it for yourself and not use it. But that money's coming out of Amazon's pockets. It's going straight into mine. It doesn't hurt you none, just takes you a few minutes, and it would be greatly appreciated. I have put a lot of time and effort into this podcast, and really haven't done it for the money at all. It's more of a passion project, but anything like that, any tips and things like that come along through Twitch or Fortnite content creation, which again is code BACKLOG when you're checking out the cart, and Fortnite, that stuff's going to all help pay for the microphones, the hosting, the re-hosting. I just had to renew the website, things like that. And again, if I don't get any money, I'm still doing this. I have a lot of fun doing it, but it all helps, and I do appreciate it. We already got about 10 subscribers on our Twitch, and I thank you all for that. I look to do more streaming, and we have been doing the podcast live on Twitch, which is a lot of fun. I love interacting. This particular one is not. I wanted season 1 to be focused. I wanted to be laser focused on the content, on the intro, on the discussion with Johnny Weaver, and I think that we have done that. So before we jump over to that, a couple more bits of information. Imagine Dragons has released a pack on Beat Saber. It's about $12, I think. I found it to be really worthwhile. I don't know how long it's been out. I think it's new or newer, and it's put a lot of us right in the mix just every night playing it. My son has played the hell out of it, and he can play now on expert mode, and it's so impressive to me to see my 8-year-old kid just whipping around. I mean, he's been kind of grounded from Fortnite for a couple of days now, and he put his focus right into Beat Saber, and then Just in Time, and a couple of other games on the VR, and it's really reinvigorated us on the usage of VR. Now that Joe's got the VR, and we got Box VR, and we got Beat Saber, and there's just so many games that I already have that I haven't even started to tap into. And this season, I'm going to tap into them. We're going to play them, and we're going to talk about them. EA Access is something I've also talked quite a bit about. I love it. It's on the PlayStation coming up this month here in July. It's about time. Sony has kind of avoided working with EA on this EA Access, saying that their Game Pass should be enough for the players and the subscribers of the PS Plus. However, it's not. EA Access is a phenomenal program, and for under $30 a month, you can get access to a bunch of games that cost $60 if you were to buy them at the store. Games like Madden, NBA, NHL, FIFA. So be on the lookout for this. I'm not trying to sell it for anything other than the fact that I think this is EA doing something right. Okay, we always bitch when EA does something wrong, and they do a lot wrong, but EA Access is not wrong. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal product, and it puts a lot of games into your library for $30 a year. Okay? It's worth it. And when it comes to PlayStation 4, it's worth it even if there's just 1 or 2 games you'd play, even if you play them casually. If you don't have the $30, it's not worth it, right? But honestly, if you're going to spend $60 on Madden, why don't you spend $30 on Madden and get everything else, right? It makes sense. Tetris is coming out with a battle royale on the mobile phones. I can't wait for that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It's like 100-person Tetris, and in the same vein as Fortnite and all that, you got battle royale mode in Tetris now, and that's going to be really interesting. I talk a lot about my brother's skill set in Tetris, and I've been playing a lot of Tetris, especially I got a new version on my phone. That's a lot of fun. Interesting to see that Tetris is still thriving over all these years. It's just it's a puzzle game that puts your mind to the test, and I still say get it in VR. It's just something else. There are mixed reviews and whatever, but I look at my boys over at the Play PSVR, and they might shit on it, but every once in a while, they're still playing it. So there's a reason to go back to it. Music's great in most of the levels, and it's tricky, and there's competition in there. Last but not least, we talked a lot about the Stadia. Google Stadia is coming out in just a couple months. We got November, right? And one of their executives made a comment. They said they're not worried about data caps. I do have a concern here. I don't know if this is Google posturing, kind of saying, well, don't worry about it because in the future it's not going to matter, which I do believe that's the case in the future, but we're here right now. And if I'm not paying extra to have unlimited data, Comcast is ripping me off for the stupid 30 megabits a second that they're trying to get out of me. Okay? I'm paying a shit ton of money for 1 gigabit internet, and then I got to pay more for the unlimited data, because if you have 1 gigabit of internet with a 6 terabyte limit or whatever, 2 terabyte limit per month, that doesn't really make any sense. And they don't bundle them like that. You know, you have to pay extra for all this extra shit. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. So while I have to pay a ton of money per month for this, Google's saying they're not worried about it. Well, maybe they're working deals with these companies like Comcast and Verizon and other big names who don't seem to carry the same concern. Or they do, you know, they think that we are going to be paying for this. So, you know, games are getting so big, and Google is focused so heavily on this streaming only system. Well, maybe they have some deals that they're working in place with these companies to maybe subsidize some of the data cost. And I hope that's the case, but we'll see as November comes along. I personally, like I said, I went and splurged for the 1 gigabit plus the no limit, just so I could do primarily a digital only gaming. If I have to delete a game and reinstall it, you have to pay for that, right? You have to, I mean, that's a data cost if you're not on unlimited, and data gets expensive when you're under Comcast and things like that. So hopefully Google is making deals, but if they're not worried about it, it's because they don't care about money, and we as citizens do. I think that might be a make or break when this thing comes out, but I have faith in Google. I know that they're going to try to make this work, and they want our data, so they're going to find a way to get it, and they're going to pay for it if they have to. And I think that they'll pay for it through companies like Comcast and Verizon and some of these other ones to make sure that we're all using their system over top of some of these others. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I'm going to transition over to the interview with Johnny Ryan Weaver, and he comes to you as a tournament specialist in esports, and from 2002 to 2015, he was a Halo competitive gamer. And Ryan, thank you and welcome to the podcast. I appreciate you reaching out and even reaching out just to see what's up and become part of this. So
yeah, no, I enjoy gaming and esports and everything, so it's always nice to meet people that have the same features and stuff that enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's actually funny, the timing and everything, because literally last week or the week prior, my co-host is he's moving on to do just the streaming and stuff. He doesn't want to do the podcast, and
right.
He's got a team. It's him and his buddies and me, and they call themselves Team Emar Gaming. And I've always kind of talked to him a little bit about, like, what if we really tried, in an esport level? You have to start out somewhere with scrims and actually practice, not just play for fun. And so when you reached out, this is a topic that really it interests me, and I don't think I know enough about it. So no, it's perfect. That's why the timing is awesome. So I'll kind of introduce you here. We have, let me make sure I get it, Ryan, right?
Yeah.
But Ryan goes by IcyChiller. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, and he's been around for quite some time in the esports world, playing Halo and some other games like, let's me see what I got here. Got my homework to do. So Halo competitive. What other games did you play competitively? Because I have Halo, but
I played a little bit of Call of Duty during Ghost, and then I've done Overwatch tournaments, Rocket League tournaments, and maybe a few other scragglers. I like a bunch of retro, like GoldenEye, Mario Kart, stuff like that.
Oh man, GoldenEye was the shit. That game right there.
Right.
So, what got you into, obviously, the love and the passion, right, for video games? But when did you decide and realize that you were good enough to take it to the next level and actually try making money off of this?
Like I said, growing up, I always played video games. Grew up on playing Mario and stuff like that. Well, whenever Blockbuster Video was around, my mom and sister told me, "Hey, there's a tournament at Blockbuster. It's Donkey Kong, and it's who can get the most bananas in like 5 minutes." I'm like, "Okay." So I practiced for like 3 weeks. They fed me nothing but Mountain Dew and honey and roasted peanuts, and I went to it and won. And I liked it, and I just kept grinding from there.
That's awesome. Donkey Kong, man, and Blockbuster
Yeah.
Video Game Championship. So you're right up there with Dr. Disrespect as far as
Yeah, 1992.
That's fantastic. So you went on from there, but like you live in a remote part of the country, right?
Yeah,
So,
I live in Oklahoma. I'm actually from a small little country town of like 823 people.
okay, and how did you manage to do esports back then in such a small area? Or
Basically, if I wanted to play online or he likes to do tournaments online, I'd have to go to a friend's house because we didn't have it here. I'd always have to go to like Oklahoma City or Tulsa or Shawnee, just cities that are about 30 minutes away.
yeah, that's nuts. That's passion and dedication, and it's
Yeah.
something that you need. You really, really need to look at it. I'm sure as you got older, you started to focus on the business aspect more so than the gaming, or obviously the gaming is part of it, but like the competitive nature of it.
Pretty much the background of it.
So what's that like as you start playing games for fun and you start transitioning over to playing games for that? Like, is there a mindset change, or for you is it kind of the same?
There was kind of a love-hate relationship for it because when you play games, you do it for fun, but when it turns into a business, you have to grind, even if it's something you don't want to grind on, because you got to earn a living. It's just like getting up for work. You can't just be like, "Oh, today I'm just gonna not go in." You're gonna get fired if you're not careful.
Yep. And it can be gone in an instant, right? So
Exactly.
it's funny because when you watch a lot of streamers who play, I watch a lot of competitive Fortnite, and they all kind of get really burnt out. So streaming has added a whole new level because not only are you practicing, but you're doing it and you're worried about your customers or your viewers and the growth of your channel and all this extra content. Have you gotten into that at all?
No, because where I'm at right now, like streaming, my internet's too crappy for that. So the only time I actually stream is if I'm either at an event I'm hosting or if I go to a friend's house and we're just hanging out doing a LAN party type thing.
Yeah.
But I've looked into that aspect, and it would be great. But since I didn't do that, I focus more, like you said, on hosting LANs and making people more knowledgeable behind what esports really is.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a pretty fantastic aspect of it because you need that. You need people putting these things together and running them so that the other people can come along and focus on the gaming in itself.
Oh, exactly.
So how is
like
that?
Pro athlete, you only have X amount of years until you have to retire, and then from there, what are you going to do? Sit on the couch, or are you going to do something different?
Yeah, exactly. So in that aspect, right? You've probably met a lot of really, really competitive, really good gamers and stuff. Do you have any highlights of people that you've come across?
I've actually on my YouTube, I've got like one of me and Scumpy, like from Optic Gaming. We were basically just trolling a friend of mine. He's like, "Oh my God, is Scumpy around you?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I go up to him like, "Hey, let's get on Snapchat. I want you to tell my friend he sucks ass, and we're gonna send it to him." So he did and recorded it, and it just went live from there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I mean, I've met a bunch of pros from Call of Duty, Halo, Overwatch, Madden. I mean, actually, since I'm in the community, I've met so many great guys, and they're just like me and you. They're gamers. It's just that they are more excelled per se.
Yep, absolutely. I always felt like that I was born 10 years too early, just because of the placement of this in my life. At 10 years ago, I would have been a lot more hell bent on trying to make this all work, but with kids and stuff, and you and I talked a little bit about that. So you're letting your kids play games. I'm letting my kids play games. It's kind of a different world these days. My older sisters, they don't love that I do that, and but I see it as a completely different thing. I mean, if we don't do that, then they're going to fall behind in the gaming world. So you said you let your daughter play, and she's pretty damn good.
Yeah, like she plays Overwatch, like rank play with me. We've done a couple online tournaments, and then she loves Halo as well.
That's awesome. That's got to feel like really, really good. I'm still working with my son to. He loves Fortnite, obviously, and I want him to play it serious. And he thinks he does, but he ends up just messing around, and he's more worried about the fort bites and the this and that than he is the actual winning of the game. And so, how did you get her to focus like that?
Well, like she wanted to play, of course, the campaigns on games, and we played that, and then we played, of course, like pretty much casuals. And I told her, I was like, look, if you want to get better, you're gonna have to get your ass kicked so you can learn why you got your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And so every time she gets into like a one-on-one battle, 50% of the time she'll win it, but sometimes she'll also lose focus. And I'll tell her, like, look, you have to look at the enemy and think of you as playing yourself. What would you do to counter their move they're doing? And when she does that, she wins. And when she
I think we lost you there for a second.
You good? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, we lost you for the last bit you just said.
You're good, yeah. So pretty much I told her, like I said, you got to outthink your enemy. So like I said, 50% of the chance she'll win it. Sometimes she won't. And that's what I told her is, like, if you're playing me, I already know what your style is. I know what you're going to do, where you're going to strafe, and I master that, and I counter, and I win. And that's how you beat the other people, is you understand your opponent.
That's a really good way of thinking about it. Like, think about how you would react if you were on the other side. And because it's a human nature to have similar, obviously there's different levels of skill, but human nature to react a certain way. You can tell a bot from, it's pretty easy to see the robots that are running around or the AI as opposed to a human. So
right, and yeah, that's what I told her too. And that's one thing, because she's asked me, she's like, well, how did you get so good? I was like, well, when I play Halo, like, I see where the teams are at. I count their shots and their guns, what weapon they have by the sound of it. So I've just learned to just counter all these things and do the, pretty much math in my head of, all right, well, he's reloading now, press him now, et cetera, et cetera.
The cartridge sizes, when they have to reload. Those are the kind of things you're probably thinking of, right?
Yep. And then, of course, what their strats like, how they strafe, et cetera. So pretty much, like, if I go into like a lobby, I'll what we call sandbag. I'll just play around, dick around, get my ass kicked. I'm like, all right, so this is how aggressive they're going to be, and then learn it and then go from there.
That's awesome. Have you gotten into the battle royales like the Blackout or Battlefield 5 or even Fortnite?
Yeah, I played a little bit of Blackout when it came out. I actually love Apex. I was actually just playing that before I got on here with you. It's fun as a blast. I love it.
Yeah, I fell in love with Apex the second it came out, and a lot of people I play with don't play it. So I ended up just finding myself in groups, and the second you jump, people decide they don't like their the jump point or where you're going, and they just leave the game. And
right.
So it's really good to have a group of people on that one, because the second you do, you can coordinate and you can win. Not that it's easy, but it's a lot easier than playing with randoms.
Right. We call randoms potatoes. I hate them because they really have no thumbs and they can't think with a damn.
Yep. So outside of gaming, what kind of things fuel you in life?
Actually, well, besides gaming, I love to fish. Fishing is one of my big time hobbies. I actually love to cook too. Honestly, if I wasn't in gaming, I probably would have tried to go to school for being like a chef or something, because I love to like cook and please others and let them see the passion of what kind of food can bring joy to them.
Hell yeah! So what is your favorite types of foods to cook, or do you have a specific dish?
I mean, there's multiple ones. Each genre has its own thing. Like, for instance, if I'm doing, it's usually stuffed enchiladas, which is usually chicken, steak, fried beef, queso, and then of course little pico and little stuff on that.
That sounds right up my alley, right there. I've noticed with Twitch and all that, one of the things that I've been talking a lot about is this network thing, and I just kind of envision the future being a lot more self. What's the right word? It's like basically you're going to go find the content you want, but
right.
We have it with on demand, and it's obviously getting more prevalent even on cable TV and stuff, but with the ability to, so for example, someone that we have on the Discord that's in what I call the network, her name's IcyChiller, and she can go and play League of Legends, and then the next stream she has is going to be, she's going to cook cookies, right? And then she'll be on a podcast. It's like, she has this, she calls it a variety stream, and it truly is, but she's building a brand, and she can just go out there and cook, and people watch and tip her and give her, questions and advice and all that, and she just keeps contact. It's just a different world that a lot of people they're not aware of yet. Like the older crowd for sure doesn't understand a lot of this. So
right, and especially when it comes to Twitch, like you said, you can do anything on there. You don't have to just play a video game.
Yeah, you can.
You can draw pictures or have someone say, "Hey, give me $5, I'll draw something and I'll send it to you." Stuff like that,
Yep. Or you can do shots for subs and pass out right on stream.
We've done that plenty of times too.
So
especially playing Rocket League. Woo, Lord.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I played Rocket League for the week it came out, and then I hadn't touched it until last week, and I had a blast playing that. So
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
I'm going to be playing a little bit more of that. I plan on getting into some Overwatch because I bought that probably 3 or 4 months ago and just haven't even loaded it up
Which
yet.
console did you say you're on?
I have them all. I have Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, but I primarily play on PlayStation.
I gotcha. Because I was going to say, I just got a computer rig, so I have that and the Xbox.
You're kind of cutting out a little bit. Did you say you
Yeah, you're good.
you got a
I got
computer?
an Xbox and a PC.
Okay. Yeah, the I don't own it on Xbox or PC. I own the Overwatch on the PlayStation, but some of these games, I got the Game Pass for Xbox and PC. I have a bunch of games as well. I share an account with somebody and have access to
Nice.
their library, so it's kind of full. Makes the backlog
So it's
real.
Right, it's always a blessing and a curse. You're like, oh, what do I want to choose this time?
So as a competitive and a dedicated esports gamer, through your years of doing this, did you play the adventure games? Did you go? You said you liked Mario and stuff, but are you able to jump into Assassin's Creed and do that, or do you have to focus so much on this other stuff?
No, I did. I bounced around a little bit because I dedicated 8 to 10 hours usually per day, towards the competitive game I was playing on, just to practice with the teammates, grind, etc. But on my off days, I love RPGs. RPGs have always been my favorite growing up.
You ready for Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Oh God, yes.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, when I was at E3 and they were showing that, I was like, "What is this?"
So, have you been to a bunch of E3s, or was this your first one?
That was actually my first one. One of my sponsors was like, "Hey, you want to go?" Because I had just got back from DreamHack. I plan on just resting. He's like, "Yeah, all right. Well, he's like, I'll pay for everything and just fly out here and we'll take care of you." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, sure. Hold on, let me untwist my arm. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to be going to TwitchCon, and one of the fun things about when you have a podcast is you're allowed to try to get into these things for free, but I got denied for TwitchCon. I'm not big enough yet, but I'm going, and I'm bringing my press badge so I can try to get interviews with people and stuff. We'll see. It might just end up me having fun and hanging out with my nephew who's going to be going with me, but
nice.
I'm gonna try, right? I mean, it like you said earlier,
that's all you can do is try.
They're just gamers, right? And
Right.
some of them have a lot more money than me, and they might put their nose in the air, but most of them are just normal people in a job that that they love, and most of us would love to have.
Right.
So did you when you did this competitively, did you have to also have a full-time job or a job on the side?
When I first started off, I did. I was actually a water plant operator, which actually I did for a while during my career because when I had my kids, I kind of want to do daddy duty. So I kind of want to lay off tournaments for a little bit, focus local wise, and did that. So I mingle between both.
Okay, cool. Because you always wonder, when you think of gaming, it's hard. It's really hard to imagine it as a primary gig. You know what I mean? But
right.
At the same time, that's just the way the world's moving. It really is. This is going to be a job for people, especially with tips and donations and things like that on Twitch and YouTube. Stupid old me can go get a couple bucks a night. If you're really trying on this and you really actually are focusing, I can imagine this could replace when I was a kid, it was the McDonald's and the shopping center bagger working in the produce section, making $8 an hour. Well, you could probably do that. Not easily, but you could probably do that if you put your mind to it. And so you'll see a lot more of this, I think. But it'll start to spread out a little bit.
Right. And that's what I tell a lot of people, too, is when you get into the esports world, it's not necessarily how good you are behind the sticks. It's more your personality.
Yep.
Because if you're a god at playing a game, but you're a dick in reality, no one's really going to give a shit.
Unless you're Tfue.
Yeah, unless you're Tfue. There's a difference right there.
I don't even know how that guy, I mean, he actually probably is a lot funner in person, but the personality, I remember watching him before he blew up because he was just so good. And I was like, I can't watch this guy. I don't know. I don't like that personality where he hates everybody, hates everything. He's obviously grown a little bit, but when he hit #1 and now he's the top Twitch streamer and he's still just really, really stinking good at that game. Makes you wonder, like, what it is that some people, they can't look away. Is it the success, the skill, or you're wondering, or are you looking up to this kid thinking, like, he's so cool? I don't know. I just don't. I don't know how.
Right, it's like a train wreck. You just can't look away.
Yeah, but damn if he doesn't know what he's doing. He's definitely doing something right.
Right. Well, that's like my opinion on Ninja, and I'll tell that to people because I used to play with Ninja back in Halo 3. Like, when he was in the circuits, we were playing. He did a little bit of reach and stuff. And now that he's in Fortnite, his personality has changed. Because in the Halo circuits, he was an ornery asshole. Like, he would cuss, yell, get hype. And now on there, he's like, "Oh, someone stream sniped me. I'm gonna report him." I'm like, "Really? You're freaking Barney for kids. You can't even say the words caca without getting in trouble."
I know. He's starting. He's loosening up. I think his Walmart contract is probably, nearing the end or something. Who knows? But
right.
The second his stuff was in Walmart, his personality was a 180. I mean, Fortnite in general, but the second, he obviously has a manager or somebody who's looking at this data saying, well, you just can't be that way. You have X amount of money coming in. You have Red Bull, you have Walmart, you have, all this stuff. You have to do it our way. And it's a classic example of big business coming in and kind of changing. Look he's not number one anymore. He still is some days, but there's a reason for that, the realistic personality wins every time. And you can kind of tell that sometimes it's not with him. And especially like you just said, man, that one scene where he was flipping out and, I'm gonna report him to Twitch and whatever.
Right.
Epic. Like, look, dude, you're making a lot of money. You have a lot of attention on you. One little guy who comes in and streams
up too.
Yeah,
is like when you get sponsored, you basically become a walking billboard. Everybody's eyes is on you, and so if you do something stupid that company doesn't like, they can terminate you quick, and whatever money you did have, they can technically take back if it's in the contract because you broke the contract.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too to think about, but you're right. And so that actually, you think about the Tfue. I don't know if you're familiar with the Tfue contract situation with FaZe.
Yeah, I already did that.
And so, I mean, this stuff, a lot of these companies, and I don't know if it's on purpose or not, you might have more insight into how these contracts work, but, you get a young kid, doesn't know, much about contracts, but knows about gaming, and you get them to sign something. Obviously you're in it for the money, right? Obviously you want the better gamers so you can have the pride and the passion of their fans. And, so FaZe isn't necessarily trying to hurt Tfue and all the other players, but at the same time, if they can get a better contract for them, they will. And look, I mean, like you just said, they could take his content, take his money, they own it. And what can you do about it? You can get big enough to get. Yeah, I mean, the only reason we know about this is because Tfue's as big as he is. But if he never blew up and got that big, this wouldn't even be a question, right? I mean, do you have more insight?
A lot of people, when they hear the word sponsor, especially these young gamers, they get all green in ears because they see all the big guys sponsored making so great. But they don't understand. Sometimes you're selling your soul to the devil if you're not careful, Just because a company's like, oh yeah, we'll take care of, like, for instance, all the big names, FaZe, Optic, etc. A lot of gamers think, okay, well, they'll just pay us if we get on there. Well, they have to get their money from a different outsource, which is from funding, So it's not like it's a 9-to-5 job where the government pays them money to pay us, etc. They have to earn it from their area, but they have to earn it from hiring good people on there. So it's just one giant loophole. Yeah,
it's
and
nuts.
A lot of these gamers don't understand.
Have you ever come across that type of stuff? I mean, obviously you don't need to name names or anything, but like during your tenure, especially hosting events and seeing people from a different perspective, do you ever see that where they just get kind of crushed by the contract?
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that before because there's certain things that you have to wear or certain things you can't drink. Like I remember when we were down in X Games, G Fuel sent me and my photographer Chris Ott down there, which he actually works for Optic now. We were pretty much just advertising G Fuel, sampling it out. And I went to Scumpy because I knew he was thirsty, and I was like, "Hey, you want some G Fuel?" And he pointed at his wristband. He's like, "Dude, I'm with Red Bull." He said, "I would love to, but if someone takes one picture, I'm screwed." I was like, "No, it's understand."
Man, yep.
So
just a drink.
You have to have a tight knit family, just for a drink, man.
That's nuts, but it is how it goes. I mean, that's what they're paying for. That's what you signed up for.
Right. Well, that's like, for instance, when we're on the pro circuits, whenever I'm working the series and I'm, a pro gamer's like, hey, can you get me some water? Yeah, no big deal. I'll get them some bottled water from the back where our catering area is at, and they'll sit on the table while they're gaming. Well, if some company takes a photo and it's next to that person, or they're on mainstream and it's there, if Dasani, for instance, is not a sponsor of the tournament and they see somebody drinking that on stream, they can technically try to sue the stream because they're using their brand without their permission.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so you got to be careful with that stuff.
I wonder if that applies in Twitch world too. Like, as people start to get bigger. Like last night I was drinking all different drinks, and obviously I don't have a contract with any of them, and I got
right. Well, that's
the
thing. Like, if you say, for instance, I'm a whiskey guy, so say if you're contracted by Jack Daniels, but they seen you drinking Crown, they can terminate you. They can sue you for breaking your contract. So if you're sponsored with a, different type of brand that is, competing each other, then they see that. That's when you screw yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of whiskey, I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but last night I put down a couple of whiskey bacon shots.
Whiskey bacon? What is that?
Yeah, I don't even know. We have a bacon flavored whiskey, and I did it. I mixed it with some vodka. Evil. It was evil. It was evil. It was not a. I'm literally just now starting to, like, as I'm talking with you, I'm starting to feel better and starting to
you just need to eat some greasy food and just flush it all out of you.
Yeah, I had like 4 bagels, tons of cream cheese, like just get in my stomach now. I need to rest.
You pretty much set a car bomb off in your stomach's what you did.
Yeah, I did. So, oh man. So the gaming parties and stuff, man, when you're out there traveling and you're doing this stuff, do you ever get together afterwards with all the gamers that are out there, and what's that like?
Usually, like, different conventions, they'll have after parties where usually the pro players or the ones that they know are able to go out and hang out. It's just a different social network, because when you're actually at the event and you're competing or you're working like I do, you have to be strict, you have to be formal. When you're this, you can be laid back. You can cut the shit, you can drink, you can do whatever the hell you want. It's nice, it's enjoyable. It's like hanging out at a buddy's barbecue and just drinking and just shooting the shit.
That's awesome. Yeah, the funniest thing, or the coolest thing about Twitch, in my opinion, is that you kind of get to know these people. They don't know you, but you kind of get to know them. And I did an interview with a guy named Troy, and I've been listening to his podcast for a year, every week, and it's like I finally got him on mine, and it's like I know him. He doesn't have any clue who I am. But you know what I mean? Like, so when you get to hang out with them, if it's somebody, famous or whatever, do they tend to just resemble the same character that they play online, or is it always a little bit different?
Sometimes it depends. I mean, you got to think, if the spotlight's on them, they do have to be somewhat formal. But when the spotlight's off of them, they're usually more relaxed. Like, for instance, some of the Halo guys, Snipe Down, Ace, Pistola, they're all like focused when they're on stage. But as soon as they're out relaxing, they'll, like I said, shoot the shit with you, hang out. Like, whenever I'm on stage, on main stage, and I'm working the guys, getting them all ready, I will like pull their headset off their ear and just talk crap to them, or just play with them just to have fun. But as soon as it gets to playing, I let them do their thing, and then I'll harass them after they're done playing.
That's awesome. 2 things. 1, you ready for Halo on PC? When does that come out?
They talked about it coming out this fall, and I think they're pushing it back. It might be good. But speaking of PC, in my opinion, I would actually say all competitive games will be on PC probably the next 2 to 3 years, mainly because it can't be, well, I'm Xbox or I'm PlayStation. Well, now you have a PC, you plug your stuff in, and you can fight about, well, Xbox is better, PlayStation is better. Yep. Well, now you're all on the same console. You just plug your stuff in and it goes. So if you're a PlayStation player, well, you better prove you're better than Xbox, because you're all on the same rig now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about the Google Stadia, and what could potentially, what that could potentially be doing for gaming and esports and things, because, obviously there's a concern of lag and getting the lag input. What the hell is it called?
Lag spikes.
Yeah, lag spikes, but also latency on your controller and stuff.
Yeah.
But if they say they figured it out, and if they really did, and you can connect a keyboard and a mouse to the same system, I don't know if that's possible, but, I'm just saying if, and then everyone's playing basically on a LAN party type system, because it's all happening on the other end. Google's controlling the processing power. You don't have to worry if it's a PS4 or a PS4 Pro or an Xbox or an Xbox, One X, or it's an even playing field. It's not really up to your internet. That's just for the visual aspect, but the everything else is done on their end. And if that's the way of the future, I really believe that, like you're saying, with it all going to PC, I think it's going to kind of all go into one place, whether it's PC or this or that style, because I don't know if the term "it's not fair" is really plausible here, but it's kind of not fair when you see one person with a controller make it to the World Cup in Fortnite and they're on the same stage as everybody else. It's kind of just it's impossible to make the controller as competitive as the keyboard and mouse.
Oh, I agree to that. I played in a Overwatch tournament once where it was all on PCs, and like, so I'm a console guy. I don't do the whole click crap. So anyways, so I had teammates of mine that had controllers and some mouse and keyboard. Well, we took a full team on that was mouse and keyboard, and their reaction time or able to do this and that compared to mine was unbelievable.
Yep. It's
got our ass slaughtered.
it's so crazy to see. I just feel like that there's opportunity to bridge that gap, but unless something significant changes on controllers, it seems like they just limit controllers. I have a Steam controller. I don't know if you've ever used that, but that's a walking keyboard. It's amazing. I don't like how it feels in my hand, like the size of it and stuff, so I don't use it. But on the Steam controller, you can program every button 8 different ways. Like how long you if you double tap it, if you hold it down for 3 seconds or 8 seconds or whatever, all of that is controllable. So you can take one button and map it to so many different things, and you can do that with every button. And so I think with that type of controller, if you focused only using that, you could bridge the gap of because it's connected to the computer, not your PlayStation 4 or whatever. So you can map it just like you would map a keyboard. The fact that you have enough input points makes a big difference.
Oh,
but there's still that idea, though, that a stick or whatever, you don't have as much control as you do the mouse and the entire desktop that you're putting your mouse on. So
right, like even on computer now, like I said, my buddies, they'll be playing on their mouse and keyboard on Overwatch, and I'll have my controller and just like we'll 1v1 just for craps, and just to watch them how they angle and maneuver compared to me, I'm like, that's not fair.
Yep, yeah, and especially when there's a lot of money on the line and people are doing this for real, and then companies come along. I got a Scuff controller, and it has latency issues, and sometimes the stick just kind of holds there for a moment, and so if I turn
right,
it's weird. It's like, yeah, this is $300 controller, but it's still not as good as the standard one that obviously has better features, but they can't get it right. I sent it in, they send it back, same thing. So
yeah,
maybe it's just my controller, but
it probably might be. What cracks me up though is so back in the day during the Halo 2 and 3 time, if your controller was quote unquote modded in any way, you can actually get illegal and be kicked out of the tournament. And by modding, I mean any adjustments compared to what it normally is. Well, now that you have Scuff, which is technically a mod because it's got triggers on it, but now it's allowed. So it's just like, what made you guys adjust there?
Money. Scuff got big enough, probably bought into it. Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with Call of Duty being on PlayStation. It's just because they bought the contract off of Xbox,
Yep. It's crazy. The crossplay aspect too, when you're talking about like PC versus PlayStation or PC versus Xbox. I also see that the future, I'm hoping that this next generation is much more cross-play compatible so that, I could play with my friends on the Xbox or wherever on any game I want to play.
No,
what do you think?
I definitely agree because I enjoy that, especially when they made Fortnite come out, because my daughter plays with her friend who's on PlayStation, and then my friends are on PC, so they all link up and play. It's nice. Yeah. I would like to see Call of Duty be that same way. That a way everybody could be like one better on this or that, would just finally shut up and see what happens. Well, the only issue that I see is, like, for instance, when I play Rocket League, if we're up against PC guys, for whatever reason, it lags. But if I'm against other consoles, it's fine.
Really? That's interesting. Call of Duty has stated, and I don't know if this is official, but it's going to be crossplay for Modern Warfare. So
That'll
I am
be interesting.
I'm ready for that. I think a lot of people are.
Oh, it will be. Yeah, because like whenever they first transferred over from Xbox to PlayStation, I know a bunch of guys that stopped playing because they're like, "Well, I don't want to get a PlayStation," you know.
Yeah,
And then they ended up either doing it so they could play, but if now they're going to make a cross-platform, I can see that being great for people that finally get one too, but also piss some people off that were like, "Really? Now you're going to do this after I already switched over and I had to spend $300 extra?"
That's a good point. But yeah, I'm reading right here. So they did. It looks like PlayStation confirmed as well that they've opened up whatever, like they're gonna do it. So this is great.
It's just some code in the lobby. That's all it is. Really, just you have to program it to where both platforms can be on there. Voila.
Yeah. The esports world, man. Like you said, it's gonna be one place. It's probably all gonna be more PC based and everything because it's more of an even playing field. They can control that stuff. But outside of all of that, outside of the money and this and that, the competitive nature is and the skill set is so high when you watch some of these events that it is, to me, it's like watching an NFL football game. It's amazing,
especially when the crowd gets behind it and there's hype moments. Especially the commentators help out. Like I remember I was down at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and the score was like 48-48 on Narrows. And do you play Halo at all?
I've played it, just not. It's been years, many years.
Well,
probably
so
Halo
Narrows
3.
is like a really big bridge area that has like 2 man cannons on the side. And normally you try to avoid that. Well, the whole team was getting pressed, and the other team hit the man cannon all to go across the other side just to try to get map control. It was just crazy because they're like the commentators whispering what's gonna happen? We don't know. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, he got sniped in the face, you know.
That's
just a hype moment.
I was watching some competitive Call of Duty and just the skill level from everybody. Like I always feel when I'm playing Call of Duty that everyone's cheating and I'm getting screwed over by the server and everything. But no, the reality is there's just some people who are just so good at that game. They know where you're gonna be before you've decided to go there. And so they push it to the certain points. And when good teams are working together, they're making the spawn points happen. It's not random. It's like when you're playing on just a random lobby, that shit's all over the place. But on these games, they're like, all right, we need to push over this way so that so we can start them spawning over there. And it's so tactical. Amazing.
It is. Like whenever we used to play, for instance, I'll give you a map, Lockout on Halo 2. I would usually be Snipe 3, my partner would be B3, and my other partner would be Library, which is the window over there, and that would make them spawn up at blue, or the Zoop as we call it. And so if they had to press, they'd either have to go under glass and we'd see them and we'd drop down and shoot them, or they'd have to go up the cannon or elbow. Either way, they could not get another spawn.
That's awesome. It's just, and that's the gap that I think a lot of people that don't get into the gaming, the esports, and can't see why this is becoming such a big thing is they can't wrap their head around the fact that you can truly make this stuff pro level. There is a difference. Even when you watch someone do a speed run in Mario, there's a difference between someone who is so skilled that the tiniest millimeter of a misstep can change the time and ruin their whole speed run, or you don't look left when you should have and you get sniped in the face. There is there's such a skill level to this that it doesn't take long to figure out that there is that gap if you sit down and watch a pro. And so, did you ever feel that that you just had this shit and other people they're missing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it did. Like growing up out here, I remember one of my buddies was like, "Hey, our friends have land party on Halo 2. Do you want to come out and just beat their ass?" I'm like, "Sure." So I met him, and what's funny is there's 7 or 8 of us all in this house with all on our different TVs playing, and I destroyed the crap out of him, but I actually made my best friend out of it. We've been best friends for almost 15 years, another one's 10 years. One of them owns a barbecue stand here in town. So I mean, they've adulted in other ways, but we all got connected because of video games.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the guy that was my podcast partner. That's video games is the only reason I talk to him. It's pretty easy to connect, even if it's not you're not playing the same game. You can, well, tell me about that game. What's so good about that? Why should I stop playing what I'm playing and play what you're playing?
Right.
So it gives an outlet.
And no, I agree completely. And that's how it should be. Like, I've met so many people online that I play with as friends, and it's just so great to actually meet them in person. And they're just happy. It's like, it's like a long lost lover they've never seen. Like, oh my God, it's you. Hey, what's up?
That's awesome. So what was your, like, speaking of that, like what's your biggest moment or moments that you've had in your career and like that you'll never forget?
Oh, geez, there was multiple times. Don't get me wrong. Like, winning tournaments and stuff is great and all, but for instance, like when I was down in Dallas in 2012, there was actually multiple areas. There was Halo 4, Mortal Kombat, StarCraft, etc. At the Mortal Kombat area, there was actually two guys that got into a rap battle. One was in a wheelchair, one was a black gentleman, and the guy in the wheelchair dropped the N-word on him.
Oh man!
Thinking this guy's not gonna punch him, this black guy just dicks him in his face. It's and we're just sitting there like, oh my God, this is our hip hop. What the shit's going on?
That's crazy.
And so what's funny is, so like I said, I was down in DreamHack this year, and it's at the same convention center, and in the same floor area where Mortal Kombat was at, was Halo was at. And some kids were talking crap. We're like, hey, we got to shut down the stations. We're starting to break stuff down. One of the players goes over and disconnects the other dude's stuff when he's not supposed to. And that dude just gets up and decks him in the face. I'm like, what is it about Dallas, Texas, in this area? People always get punched.
Oh, man. That's crazy. Oh, some seriousness, man. I'm from Jackson, or I live in Jacksonville now. And on a definitely serious note, there's some raw emotion that happens that pushes some people past the limit. And you saw last year with the Madden tournament where that guy came in and killed his competitors.
Yeah, he killed two guys and himself and injured a lot of buddies. Because here's the thing is that there's a company based out of Philly I'm with called Game Sharks. And we were actually supposed to do that Florida one, but we actually switched to Texas because it was closer to me. And so the guy that was hosting that one, he was new and everything. And it's just so crazy. All that stuff happens at a new area. So, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the world, but it's just sad that someone takes something that serious.
Yep. And I was reading the backstories there with that. And just the fact that was a buildup of years. Some stupid thing that happened at one of the events that you're like kind of the thing you're talking about where, these two guys had a tiff, in the middle of the thing. But it was just words and, it built up. And so the one thing I like to encourage, even in any type of job or work or, whether it's video gaming or bussing tables, is try not to let that stuff hit you at that level. I mean, obviously that's a pretty obvious thing to say, but
right.
When you're playing games against people talk shit. That's just what happens. And on the football field, they're talking shit. In MMA, when they're fighting and punch each other in the face, they're talking shit. It's aggression. It's, you're trying to prove to the other person you can beat them. And so sometimes gamers can live secluded lives where they're just, all the time in their room playing games and take it really serious. Don't take it that serious. I mean, I'm not telling you this. I'm to the audience.
No, I understand.
Because
whenever we're at a tournament and there's teams that are talking smack, I'll tell them, look, you guys can talk as much shit as you want. Just don't make any derogatory remarks towards this person being in mental states. Don't talk about their family and don't do any racist terms. Other than that, I don't give a shit. Have fun.
Yep.
Just keep it classy.
That's right. That's what it's all about is that competitive nature. And what happened with that is that event happened and they have since shut down that entire plaza. Like, it killed the downtown area.
Really? They killed that plaza?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was supposed to, they've been talking about revamping it for a long time, but that was like the nail in the coffin. It basically, I think it was a couple weeks ago now, and all the businesses have since closed. And that it's like a good-sized area with boats can pull up and just jump into Hooters and eat some wings or go to Chicago Pizza and have some pizza. And now it's like a ghost town. and it's
right, all because of somebody had to do some stupid shit.
Yep. And on top of that, I haven't seen any, maybe I haven't been looking in the right place, but there's no esport type events happening here since then either. And that little place that they did this at was an awesome little gaming place that was in the back of a Chicago Pizza. You just walk in. We had lunch there a couple times. I didn't know it existed. And then I went back there and I'm like, whoa, look at all these computers and PlayStations and couches and chairs and all these people just hanging out and having fun. And it was a cool place. So,
yeah, after all that stuff happened, like I have buddies that do Madden tournaments, and we were gonna still host one down in Texas ourselves, and they were all like, well, "What are we gonna have for security because we don't want the same thing to happen?" I'm like, "Well," I was like, "Even if I had the top-notch security, if someone's gonna do something, someone's gonna do something."
yeah, it's hard to. I mean, obviously, because it was a Madden tournament, you're gonna think that it might, but it could be anywhere. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be
you
Madden.
You can walk outside and get hit by a damn meteor. You don't.
That's right. But I mean, StarCraft, any game, if someone's unstable, they could snap. So I try to, even though I have my competitive nature, I talk trash too. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I let the people I'm playing with know if it's a situation like that. And I'm a goofy dude when I'm playing games. That's why I have a hard time realizing, not realizing. I think I could have. If this was all 10 years ago, I could have actually put my time into something specific, but I know I'm not going to be there. So I just go in and have fun. And some people hate that. I don't mind dying in a game. I don't mind
exactly
taking a risk because it's what it is. It's a game. But
I've seen so many friends like throw their controllers, punch their TVs. I'm like, bro, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay.
My son, he's 8 and he slammed my controller down once and I was like, no, that's, if you're not having fun. No. Yeah, if you're not having fun, it's not a game, right? Games are supposed to be fun. So
that's how it is when we play Overwatch. I mean, we don't get me wrong, we're doing like tournaments or comp play, but I'm just goofing off, just having fun. My friend's like, "You have ADD?" I'm like, "No, I'm just being random."
Seriously, have you ever been to Vegas?
Oh, I've been to Vegas plenty of times.
Nice. Have you seen the side of the Luxor? Is it the Luxor? Yeah, the pyramid.
Yeah.
Esports capital or something like that. It really opens some people
down there now.
Yeah, it's just nuts. They're opening up arenas for this specific thing. This is the future. It really is. When you say, did you say you work for or work with MLG?
I work for the following: MLG, UGC, DreamHack, South by Southwest, Gamers Outreach, and like I said, pretty much any other company that hires me. Pretty much, I'm an esports tournament specialist freelancer.
Yeah, man. So that's a job that 5 years ago people probably would have never known existed, except for you and the people doing it. And now it's going to be a job that people are looking to be. Like they're gonna that kind of stuff. Building these communities.
We do our events, like for instance, UGC Atlantic City. That's coming up September 6th through 8th. We try to find volunteers that are local in the areas that want to get in the esports world. Let them experience, get their foot down, and it's easy stuff. You come, you help set up stuff, you ref some teams, you tear it down, and that's it. They take care of hotel, food, all that good jazz. As long as you do your part,
Yeah, I was actually I saw, I don't know if it was a YouTube or a tweet of you asking for people to reach out to you if they were interested. And so
I put it on there. And like, so we'll, if someone's close, we'll give them up to like $50 for gas. And normally, like MLG or the big companies will fly people out there for volunteers, but it also depends on the sponsorships. Since this one here is not a sponsored, like people like me that have their career in it, they'll fly me out, and people that have the experience. But normally, like I said, they'll take care of that. But since this is, unless you want to take your own stuff, if you're out of state, you're SOL on that. But they'll take care of everything else, just not your.
Yeah. So, but that might be a good avenue, a good way for people to find out if that type of career path is for them. And so if you're watching or listening to this, definitely reach out to Ryan. Man, did I get it wrong? Hold on.
Ryan, no, you're good. Technically, my name is Johnny Ryan Weaver, but I mean, I get called a lot of names.
Okay, it's because I keep
Ryan's
looking.
My friends. Icy is on the gaming circuit, so just.
Okay, I keep looking at on my little cheat sheet here. I have IcyChiller, and I didn't put. So I'm like in the back of my head, I'm like, it's Ryan. But yeah, definitely reach out to him. You can get him on Instagram, IcyChiller, IcyChiller. Twitter is what, IcyChiller 54.
Yeah.
Twitch is INC_IcyChiller. He's got IcyChiller for YouTube, and he also runs okgamers.com. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. So okgamers.com, it's actually got founded, I believe, in 2005 or 2006. I always get those days confused. So what's funny is I was online Googling some stuff and I found a company, which is OK Gamers. It's my buddy Saf, and he ran it. And so pretty much I'm their tournament specialist guy. So I used to be for everything, but now since we've gotten bigger, we branched out and got members from fighters to computers to whatever. But I'm the FPS guy. And
That's
so
awesome.
pretty much what we do is we try to link up and advertise different tournaments, whether it's in-state, out-of-state, whether it's tournaments, LANs, birthday parties, whatever gaming can do, we try to involve it to the community so they can have fun with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like this is another thing too, right? With this stuff becoming more prevalent, it's opening up people who would never have bought a football jersey, right? They don't watch football, they don't watch baseball, they're not going to go buy the hats. Now they have an avenue to spend that money, and that's another reason to think like Twitch and all these places where you can subscribe and tip. That's what they're using their money for. Same people, if they were into football, they'd be buying the jerseys and doing that stuff. This is real. This is like, when I was a kid, my parents said, "You stop playing so much video games. You can't make money doing that." And now you can't tell your kids that. You can't tell them that because you can.
Right.
So, I love what you're doing
around here. Like I said, my mom's sis and dad, they all support me. I had some friends that did too, but I like aunts, uncles, this and that. They question. They're like, "Oh, you're just wasting your time. You should make your son do something else." And about 3 years ago, I was in a magazine for the local called Oklahoma Gazette. They did an esports story over me, what esports is. And my aunt came up to me and she's like, "I'm so sorry I doubted you." She's like, "I didn't know how big this stuff was until my kids showed me all your stuff, and I was in awe." I was like, "It's all right."
Yeah, that's
I tell people when you got haters, it's just fuel, and you take that as far as you want, and you can either succeed or you can fail.
That's right. And you won't even have a chance if you don't take the risk.
Exactly. That's why I tell kids when they try to get sponsors or get on the circuits, I'm like, worst thing you're going to realize is, all right, either we suck, we need to try again, or if you ask for a sponsorship, they say, "Sorry, not at this time."
Yep, absolutely. So this brings me to this last part here, the retirement, right? So you seem pretty firm on it. You're a retired gamer, a retired competitive gamer. Is that
correct?
Are you ever going to come out of retirement, or is that like a final? You've decided to move on with that?
I dabbled on it because I was on it from 02 to 15. My last event was Iron Gaming Daytona Halo 5 when it came out. The only reason I think I actually retired from playing was because I got in a car accident like in 2012. I didn't get surgery till 2014. So I've got like nerve damage in my leg. So it's hard to sit there and compete at the same level I once was because I can't focus. And I told my partners, I'm like, "Look, it's not fair for me to be on the team and only play half-ass when you can maybe get somebody a little bit better than me that can take you guys a little bit farther. I don't want to weigh you guys down."
Yep.
And they respected it. My sponsors respected it. Everybody did. They're like, "Look, you've done so much for us." And then that's when I was like, "Well, how about I retire from working and I work for you guys, helping build your platforms and bring more people in. That way everything keeps rotating like it should." And here I am now.
That's pretty admirable in both directions. I mean, you want to stick with it because you love it. At the same time, you're willing to be humble and say, I am not at the same skill set I was, and I can't be right now. And to be able to, I mean, dude, to step away from something like that on your own and not be told, "Hey, you suck, you're no longer good, now you're retired." But it's not that. It's you saying, my team needs a better person in this spot because I can't be that person anymore. That's a
yeah,
huge...
and like I said, and all my teammates they respect it. Like I said, sponsors do. It's funny though because sometimes I'm playing online, I'll play against kids and they'll talk shit on there, and then they'll read my bio because all my information in my bio, and they're like, "Oh, I kicked your ass at Rocket League. You're supposed to be some pro guy." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Bro, just chill." I was like, "I can whip your ass in real life too if you want to take that route," but I was like, "I'm retired." And then when they actually like look on my stuff, I actually got messages from a kid. He was like talking so much crap. And he told his friend, "Well, I'm talking crap to this guy." And his friend's like, "I know that guy." And he's like, "What?" And so he looked at my stuff. He's like, "I am so sorry." I was like, "It's fine."
That's awesome, man. Well, you've built yourself a pretty solid career, pretty solid following. And now you have this career after the esports competitive gaming. I think that personally, I've been spouting it to the world. The esports is going to be so big; it's going to be 10 times bigger than it is today. Before I'm gone, and you're right in the middle of it all, and it's a very amazing thing. It's pretty awesome. So
Yeah, I enjoy it.
commend you.
Now, the one thing that I like doing a lot is mainly like local stuff here because I help out companies like Extra Life, which do stuff for sick kids that are in hospitals.
What company was that?
I'm actually Extra Life. Have you ever heard of
Oh, Extra Life. Yes, I have actually. That's actually I think I'm using them on Amazon Smile.
Yeah, so I just linked up with them probably about a few months back, and we have a con coming up called Miracle Con here, and pretty much all the proceeds are pretty much going to go to the sick kids and whatnot. I'm working on projects with them for me to be able to go to the hospitals and like game with the sick kids, even if it's for like an hour, just so they can have fun.
Yeah. Is there a website for the Miracle Con?
We don't have it up just yet, but whenever I do, I can probably shoot it to you. But like it's based out of Oklahoma, so if anybody is around the area, message me and I can give them details that way.
Okay, cool. I just Googled it, and it looks like tabletop.events has it up there.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. I love seeing that stuff. There's so much money that goes to, all these different charities like Red Cross or, Komen or whatever. And they're all for great causes, but I love seeing the gamer. There's a couple of them. I forget the names of all of them, but Extra Life is definitely, I think that's the one I've selected for my Amazon Smile. And it's cool to see the passion that goes into that kind of stuff because you know what? Yeah, you can go see John Cena. He can come shake your hand, and he can, that might be one kid's dream, but gaming puts a lot of smiles on a lot of faces, and
it does.
This kind of stuff here, man, putting focus on kids who love that gaming, but also, have situations that are really unfortunate is
right.
It
happens. Like whenever like I said, I usually try to Google different events that are coming up, and I always ask, hey. There's a company based out of Michigan called Gamers Outreach, and they donate their stuff like to charities and stuff like that, or the kids in hospitals, and they'll build gaming units for them. So I contacted one of them up in March, and they're like, "Hey, we'd love to have you come out, except funding right now cannot pay for out-of-state volunteers." So I put $317 of my own down, went up there, and we raised over $638,000 for sick kids.
Holy cow! That's awesome.
Yeah, in 2 days. And that people are like, you spent your money to go do that? I'm like, yeah, because it's about the money, bro.
Yep. No, that's amazing. Gamers are givers, man. A lot of them are. And,
oh, yeah.
That's why you see this, I keep going back to Twitch, but it's revolutionary in the terms of like getting content out there. Now you can gift subs, and every stream I'm on, every single one, someone's gifting subs. It's amazing. Sometimes 50 at a time, 100 at a time on these popular streamers and stuff. And it's just this charitable avenue that people can take. When you have an event like you have, people want to go do that. Gamers want to go do that. So I implore you to keep doing that. And definitely, I'll say thank you on behalf of the people who get the benefits of that.
Well, because all good.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Like I said, I have 2 little kids, and I couldn't imagine if my kids were in the hospital. So I try to give out what I can.
Yep, absolutely. Well,
now, are you familiar? Oh, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you familiar that a bunch of colleges and now high schools are picking up esports as well?
You know what? I forgot to mention that, but yes, I am, and that's amazing in itself because now you're teaching the act, right? It's not just, hey, do you like games? But it's, if you like games, come here, we'll teach you how to do these. Like that's amazing. What have you had any experience with that? Like
actually, I went and I talked with Oklahoma City University about an esports program they're trying to open up in the fall. So they're like, all right, what could we do to get kids here? What exactly is esports? And I told them every different aspect that's behind esports. And their eyes lit up. So I was like, look, you can get people here for graphic content, people for broadcasting, people that actually want to play games itself. I said, so if you do that and you compete against other colleges in your same level, not only can you get scholarships, but then you can get more state funding because you won a championship against such other squads,
Yeah, and that's so why
it's more a recruiting base.
Yeah, it is. And companies like MLG and and some of these other companies you work for, UGC and all that, they're going to be the ones to kind of build that level playing field of what is really major league gaming, what is really the top tier. And then the colleges, man, if all the colleges start adopting this, it's just like the AAA and the AA, and it's the different levels. It's the it's that's what makes it real, as opposed to going on to one of these websites and setting up a little mini tournament and making $8. This is career based, and like you just said, and I think this is the other aspect that is hard to think of initially, but every kid that has a Twitch and a YouTube, they want intro videos, they want logos, they want the lighting to be right, and all of that comes with a skill set. Either they learn it themselves, or they go buy it and pay for it. And so this one of the things on the network that I'm trying to do, or that I plan on doing, I haven't started this aspect of it yet, is working with everybody to help them and learn from them. I don't know all the answers, but I want to have, I don't know what to call it. It's not really a seminar, but on Discord, I want to share my desktop, and whoever wants to participate, they can watch little things like how to build a logo, or, what free tools to start a podcast, and how would you set it up? Things like that, to get people, that they don't know what to look for, or they never thought about it, and everybody can kind of grow together and learn from each other. And then now that process is starting to play out. There's so much money involved in this too. Like, people who do graphic design, they're not cheap generally. People who do lighting and sound, those are good paying jobs. So with that coming into this type of environment and opening the door, especially if Google's saying, hey, your stuff is already streaming, all you have to do is hit the button on your controller and you're live on YouTube, they're going to monetize the hell out of this shit, and they're going to let you monetize it as well, because that's the future. And so there's just a lot of openings, a lot of areas where, like you just said, it's these colleges are getting in there, and they're going to go through all of that stuff, I bet, from top to bottom.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, it's gonna grow, keep growing.
Yeah, and it's also going to be, you're going to want to go to a school that has the best team. You're going to want to be part of it. Just like you see, I want to be on FaZe Clan, I want to be on this and that. Well,
right. And that's how it should be. It's like, for instance, I live here in Oklahoma, but I'm a Texas Longhorn fan, so I get a lot of dirt around here. But when my team whoops their asses, I'm like, ha.
That's awesome. So we're hitting the hour mark here, and before I don't want to just cut you off here and say goodbye. I want to ask you, is there anything that you want to plug, that you want to talk about? I still have time, so it's not like we're cutting off now if we don't have to. But I want you to feel free to let people know where they can find you, let people know where they can get your products, or not your products, but the businesses you work for. How can you help them? All that stuff. So
right, no, you're good. Well, basically, like I said, if anybody wants to reach out, learn more about esports, whether it's a mom, a dad, a kid, or even players that are trying to progress in their career, it's like I said, my social media that you tossed out earlier, just contact me. I will always respond. I'll even text you if you want my number. I don't care. If it helps you grow, it helps me feel better about myself.
That's fantastic. Excuse me, sorry, I'm chewing a cookie here. If you are in the Discord, and you're part of the Discord that I have out there, which I tweet out and everything, Ryan is in the Discord at IcyChiller, so that's another avenue to reach out to him. And this is my first time talking with him, but we've been chatting back and forth. He seems like a hell of a guy, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking. I hope this isn't the only time, because I think you have a lot more to say.
Oh, I'll be around, trust me.
Yeah, and
I appreciate the invite, my friend.
No, absolutely. And I'm gonna be following you, because if there's any events that I can get to, that I am interested in attending. So and seeing what all that stuff's about. So I'm gonna, I'll keep my eyes out, and I think everyone else should too.
Of course. You said you're in the Jacksonville area right now?
Yep.
I know. I'm trying to think. I think around February-ish or so, there's a company I'm going to sign a contract with about an hour from now. But they're going to start doing tournaments mainly on the East Coast, and I think Jacksonville or the Florida area might be one. So if it is, of course, I'll say, hey, you want to come out and A, work here with me, or B, just enjoy it, or see playing it,
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm there one way or another because that's where my passion is. So I appreciate that.
Well, hey,
I,
not a problem. Like I said, I appreciate that meeting new people that share the same passion. It's great.
yeah, for sure. And man, this is the future. So everybody, get on it, man. Add them on social media, IcyChiller. Like I said, and I'll post it in the show notes as well. So if you're reading this on your phone or wherever, you can get to all that information from there. But Ryan, man, I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to chatting with you again.
Well, like I said, I appreciate the invite, my friend, and I said here for you anytime, Bubba.
You got it, bro. All right, you take care.
You too, my man.